I finally received the most anticipated drone ever, the Mini3 Pro. It is the version with the new remote controller with a built-in screen. I can't wait to show you the main features and my first impressions about this ultralight drone. I don't think I will be sleeping much in the next few weeks. Let's have a quick look at the main video features. The sensor size is 1/1/3 of an inch, which is 0.77, almost the same size as its main contender, the Hotel Nano Plus, and double the size of the Mini 2. The field of view is equivalent to 24mm, which is more or less standard for most consumer drones. The aperture is fixed at a very wide f1.7, which should help in low light situations. The video resolution is 4K with a maximum frame rate of 60 frames per second for slow motion. And this is another bonus compared to the Hotel Nano and the Mini 2, which can only shoot up to 30 frames per second in 4K. In 1080p resolution, a frame rate of 120 is available for ultra slow motion. When shooting footage at up to 30 frames per second, an HDR mode is applied using dual ISO capabilities. Besides normal, the ready-to-use mode, the Mini3 can also shoot in D-Cine-like, a flatter profile for serious post-processing. Normal mode has already a good amount of contrast and saturation as it comes out of the camera. The colors are well balanced and natural. It is an excellent tool for users who don't rely on computer post-processing or need to post their content on social media as soon as possible. Two significant features specific to the new model are the ability to tilt the gimbal 60 degrees upwards, opening new creative possibilities, and the true vertical shooting mode, obtaining by rotating the gimbal 90 degrees for vertical footage that maintains the true resolution of the sensor. A feature that will probably be very popular with users who are into social media like Instagram and TikTok. Maybe I will finally try the YouTube Shorts. I will very soon publish a specific video about the footage quality of the Mini Pro using all the different modes. If you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, it might be a good idea to do so in order to be notified about my new masterpieces. This bad boy can shoot photos at a real resolution of 12 megapixels. But it is equipped with a Bayer quad sensor able to split each pixel into 4 smaller ones, therefore achieving a sort of 48 megapixel resolution. In the menu we have a choice between the single photo at 12 megapixel or the 48 megapixel mode. When shooting photos in single mode, a sort of HDR is applied using the dual ISO capabilities, like for video up to 30 frames per second. It is also possible to shoot 3 or 4 shots in auto exposure bracketing and in interval shooting. Panorama mode is available with the usual sphere, 180 degrees, wide angle and vertical. As usual, I will soon do a specific video about panorama with this drone. It will be very interesting to test the sphere mode with the extra upward tilt of the gimbal, thus showing a bigger part of the sky. Also, I can't wait to try a manual pano using the vertical shooting mode. I find the ability to shoot in portrait mode an interesting option, even more for photos than for video. As usual, you will find links to this drone and to all the gear I use in the description below. By purchasing through this link, I get a small, tiny commission that really helps the channel. Don't forget to give me a big thumb up if you find this video interesting. This tiny bird is a true powerhouse and offers practically the same functions as the Mavic Air 2S. This is an area where the Mini 3 totally outclasses the Nano Plus and the Mini 2. The excellent spotlight, active track and point of interest are available, and this makes a huge difference, both for cinematic moves and for tracking. The three-dimensional obstacle sensors work together with the very good APAS 4.0 system for finding the way through obstacles. We also have master shots and the different quick shots, like in the Air 2S. The hyperlapse function has the same options as the Air 2S: free, course lock, circle and waypoints. As you know, I'm a big fan, so I will certainly do a specific video about it once the ND filters for this drone will be available. It will also be interesting to try using the premium battery with a life of over 40 minutes for longer hyperlapses and extended frequency of shots. This is the first time I use a remote controller with a built-in screen on a drone. So far I always been using a tablet. I was a bit worried about the smaller screen, but once I got used to it, I'm not going back. It is great. First of all, the luminosity is much higher. It is rated at 700 nits and can be adjusted via the internal settings. Previously, on sunny days, I had to find a place in the shades to be able to see anything on the screen. While with this one, I never have any issues. Also, no more fiddling with cables or holding with one hand the tablet, launching the app and waiting for several minutes. Now I just switch the drone and the remote on and I'm ready for action. If a memory disk is inserted, it is possible to record the screen or take snapshots, something that I do all the time for YouTube videos. It has two scroll wheels at the top, one for tilting the gimbal and another one to smoothly use the zoom function. Very nice. I fell in love with this thing. The first thing I noticed when putting this bird in the air is the extremely low amount of noise. It is much quieter than the Mini 2 or the Nano Plus, probably due in part to the bigger propellers. It seems very agile and responds to the control sticks really well. Takeoff and landings are extremely precise, while the Nano Plus moves all over the place while landing, and it is quite dangerous in tight spaces. The Mini gives me the impression of more power compared to the other two contenders. But surprisingly, the specs announce speed and wind resistance equal to the ones of the Mini 2, which is slightly faster than the Nano Plus. I was expecting more power due to the bigger propellers, new aerodynamic design, a slightly more powerful battery. But the new drone performs much better when we move in any direction and at the same time raise or descend. The two moves are both a real speed, while in the Mini 2 and the Nano Plus the change in altitude is extremely slow when moving in any direction. This is excellent for many cinematic moves. The big disappointment with the Mini 3 is the signal transmission. I very often shoot footage in a location that has plenty of communication antennas, and the Mini 3 was constantly losing the signal, in spite of the Acoustic 3 system and the 4 antennas housed in a remote controller instead of 2. Even the Mavic 3 does it from time to time, but with this new drone the issue has been constant. On a 20-minute session I lost the signal a dozen times. On the other hand, with the Nano Plus, I never lost a signal a single time in any location. But I'm not overly worried, as it is the first iteration of the firmware, so a few issues are to be expected, considering also the huge amount of functionality of this tiny model. DJI has proved to be very reliable in fixing them and listening to user feedback. And after all, this is the only negative I have found in this quick first test. I've tested the battery time when hovering at 27 minutes. Hovering is more demanding than flying forward, so we should expect around 30 minutes in normal conditions, which is a good performance against the 34 announced in ideal conditions. Click on this link to watch my videos about the main contender of the Mini 3, the Hotel Nano Plus. I will have links to my upcoming videos about the Mini 3 in this other link as soon as they will be published. Don't forget to hit the like button if you find this video interesting. Thank you.